Charleston celebrates its 350th anniversary this year, and to commemorate that, Charleston Pirate Tours brings you Charleston History Highlights. Hi, Eric of Charleston Pirate Tours. Today I'm in downtown Charleston at Washington Park. Why do they call it Washington Park? Well, the first week of May in 1791 was a very big event here in Charleston, and that's why they call this Washington Park. What does it have to do with? The visit of President George Washington. Now, this is after the Revolutionary War, and he's now the first president, and he came on his famous Southern tour. One of his stops was here in Charleston. And during that week he was here, they threw parties and galas and dances for George, and he was the toast of the town. But of course, by May the 9th, it's time to move on his tour, so he leaves. But the locals here wanted to really commemorate his visit. So the local council decided they would have a portrait painted of George and have him stationed by his horse in a regal uniform. And in the backdrop of that portrait would be the skyline of Charleston, as it would look if you were coming in by ship. Well, they commissioned John Trumbull, the famous painter during the American Revolution period and colonial artist, to paint this portrait. You might remember him from your history books. Remember that picture of the signing of the Declaration of Independence? That was John Trumbull. So they commissioned him and told him the only thing they wanted were those two things: George looking regal there with the horse and the skyline of Charleston. He agreed to the terms. Well, weeks passed, and they finally went to look at the finished product. Well, there was a great picture of George in his uniform with a horse, but there was one thing missing: the skyline of Charleston. So they inquired, "Where's Charleston in the portrait?" He said, "It's not there." And he said, "Well, we know that. Where is it? Where is this portrait?" And he told them it was at the Battle of Trenton during the American Revolution. Well, of course, that wasn't going to do. This is not Trenton, this is Charleston. So he agreed to make the corrections. They paid him and leave. Well, it wasn't long until the portrait arrived and they uncrated it. Well, let's just say what showed up wasn't quite what they had expected. And this portrait is actually considered to be more valuable than the one that he originally did. Today that portrait hangs in a very prominent location in City Hall, in the City Council chambers, right on the wall. And right beneath where the horse is located there with his prominent features is where our mayor is seated. Happy birthday, Charleston.